There are some facts that'll shock you to the core. Others are so incredible, we find them impossible to believe. When you mix these two things together, you have a list that's gonna blow your mind and kick you in the ass all at once. From evil squirrels to the truth behind Chinese cosmetics, I have enough surprises to turn your world upside down. I'm Mike with List 25, and these are the 25 most shocking and unbelievable facts of all time. 25. Craving coffee. If you crave a caffeine fix in the morning, then I have some shocking news for you. Caffeine withdrawal is actually a mental disorder. Because of its addictive drug-like qualities, coffee can affect your mood and concentration. Miss out on that morning Joe, and you might experience tiredness and headaches. You might even get flu-like symptoms. That's why the American Psychiatric Association classifies withdrawal as a disorder. And if you also like coffee, shameless self-plug here, but we do have a second channel now called Dark Roast Detectives, where we deep dive into true crime stories, so check that out. 24. Fart plane. If there's one place you don't want to let one go, it's in the air. With everyone cooped up in an airlock container, there's nowhere for that fart to go. So what do? Well, in the case of one lady on a flight to Dallas in 2006, she decided to, light some matches. Shockingly, this plan didn't work. When people smelled the matches, they thought the plane could have been on fire. So the farter caused an emergency landing. Should just blame the person next to her. 23. Nutty intelligence. Squirrels can be a nuisance, but are they really capable of espionage? That's what they thought over in Iran in 2007 when 14 furry little creatures were taken into custody. It's alleged that they were wearing tiny surveillance tech, making them a threat not just to people's nut supplies, but also their national security. It sounds unbelievable. The shocking truth is that governments have used animals in this way before. For example, the CIA was training pigeons to take photos during the Cold War. Yeah, seriously. 22. Oh, Jesus. Judas was the disciple who famously betrayed Jesus, so it's a great role for an actor to play on stage. Unfortunately, Judas also appears to bring bad luck. Not just bad luck, but death. Can you believe that 2 actors have lost their lives during performances while portraying the biblical betrayer? These deaths took place in 2000 in Italy and 2012 in Brazil. How did they die? Well, Judas hung himself, and the play dramatizes this event, which went tragically wrong in both cases. 21. Taiwanese toilet restaurant. Would you go to a restaurant where everything was a toilet? And no, I'm not talking about the standard of hygiene. I mean a place where you sit on a toilet and ate from a miniature toilet, where it wouldn't be unusual to see someone eating ice cream from a bath. Welcome to the modern toilet restaurant in Taipei, which isn't just a single restaurant, it's actually a chain. 20. World's biggest family. You think you've got a big family? In India, a gentleman named Chana had no less than 39 wives, 94 kids, and 33 grandkids. Plus, they all lived in the same house. It must have been someplace. Mind you, this was no ordinary fam. Chana, who passed away in 2021, led the Chana Paul Christian religious sect. This sect is big on polygamy, meaning that when he started the family, it naturally went large. 19. The White House and slavery. Enslaved people were used to build the White House. When the president's base of operations was unveiled in 1800 after 8 years of construction, some of the work was done by slaves. They cut stones and performed carpentry, among many other tasks. Some of the workers were free, and they were joined by immigrants from Europe. The slaves were reportedly used because of a labor shortage. 18. Controversial teddy bear. Here's a tip. If you're in Sudan and you see a teddy bear, whatever you do, don't name them Muhammad. Teacher Gillian Gibbons from Britain made that mistake in 2007. When her class revealed that they were looking after Muhammad the bear, it led to Gibbons doing jail time. Unfortunately, her actions caused offense to Islam, meaning she was sentenced to 15 days behind bars. After a backlash, not to mention hardliners pushing for a tougher sentence, she was pardoned and released. 17. This goat was the GOAT. 2009 saw a goat undergo a citizen's arrest by concerned locals in Nigeria. Why? Because of the shocking identity of this lovable creature. You see, they believed the goat was in fact a robber who had transformed themselves using black magic. One way to avoid the police, I guess. Seriously though, the idea of a shapeshifter has been part of Nigerian culture for centuries. And real quick guys, if you're enjoying this video and you want to help us out, please give it a like and comment. It really helps the channel because it helps the algorithm, so thanks. 16. I know art when I don't see it. Artist Jorge Maki wanted to push the boundaries of his craft, so he created a piece titled The Invisible Art. It sold in New York for an impressive $10,000 in 2011. Art is a subjective business. Just as well because this artwork technically doesn't exist. There's a frame, for sure, but there's nothing inside it. You see it using your imagination. The money, however, is very much real. 15. Tragic airline rescue. The death of 16-year-old Yimeng Wan in 2013 was shocking, unbelievable, and heartbreaking. She was rescued after the Asiana Airlines plane she traveled on had to crash land in San Francisco. However, it's believed she was obscured from view by a firefighter's phone whilst lying on the runway. 2 fire truck drivers reportedly didn't see her and ran into her twice. While there were some fatalities from the crash itself, this death was made especially tragic due to the circumstances. Authorities reached a settlement with her parents in 2015. 14. Being gay in Jamaica. Incredibly, you can be sent to prison in Jamaica if you're a man who wants to sleep with another man. And it's not a light sentence either. You could spend up to a decade in jail if you're caught breaking this particular law, called the buggery law. This long-standing rule was repealed in other places, but not here. Even more surprisingly, acts of intimacy between men are seen as the big problem, with women apparently free from jail. That said, they experience a lot of hostility and prejudice. Jamaica is no ally to the LGBTQ+ community. 13. FBI OMG. Mistrust in the Muslim community proved to be misplaced in 2006. The FBI assigned an inside man to the Dar al-Hekma Mosque in Southern California. His job was to pose as an extremist and secretly film and record what people were saying. Did he uncover any plots? Nope. He was, however, reported by his own bosses by suspicious Muslims. While this is quite an amusing story, the FBI's questionable actions did upset individuals in the community. The Bureau had to go to court over the matter a few years later. 12. Raining hell. Who owns rainwater? That's a question that never even occurred to me until I made this video. Turns out the state can claim ownership of the stuff that falls from the heavens. Gary Harrington from South Oregon found out this unbelievable information the hard way. He got into hot water for collecting the rain in reservoirs, which sounds harmless enough, but not in the eyes of the law. Justice rained down hard in 2012 when he was fined $1,500 and went to jail for 30 days. 11. Shocking double suicide. Sonny Graham from Georgia took his own life by gunshot in 2008. A tragedy for sure, but particularly shocking when you know his history. You see, Graham had undergone a heart transplant where he received the heart of Terry Cottle. This man had also taken his own life. What's more, he'd done it in the same way, with a gun. Adding to the shock is the fact that Graham also married Cottle's partner. 10. Pyramid scheme. Industrial action is older than you think. The days of striking and withholding your labor go all the way back to ancient Egypt. There's a record of workers downing tools under Pharaoh Ramses III, who ruled Egypt between 1187 and 57 BCE. The story goes that the pharaoh wouldn't get his tomb unless the workforce felt that they were being properly looked after. This must have been a gutsy move back in a time of slavery and brutal punishments. 9. Fatal beauty. How far would you go to look beautiful? Would you put something on your skin that's made from dead people? Back in 2005, a Chinese company was revealed to be using human remains to make collagen. The story caused shockwaves around the world, but the company was surprisingly relaxed about the whole deal. Maybe because the bodies being used belonged to executed criminals, it was considered okay? Still, it doesn't sound like a good marketing strategy to me. 8. World's oldest hotel. The Nishiyama Onsen Hotel west of Tokyo has been in business since 705 CE. That makes it the oldest hotel in the world. But there's another shock to come. The hotel has been run by the same family this entire time. From showing people where to tie up their horses to handing out the password to the Wi-Fi, This place has seen it all. 7. Slippery dick. That's the name of a fish that people have a hard time getting a hold of. Its technical name is Halichoerus bivitatus, though it translates as the same thing. Its discovery dates back to 1791, though it's unclear whether the innuendo was intentional. Either way, it took a determined fisherman to catch that dick. 6. Saddam's soppy side. He may have been a brutal dictator, but it turns out Saddam Hussein had a sensitive side. Who knew? This was shown in a romance novel called Zabiba and the King. He released it in 2000, 3 years before being overthrown. How was it received? Well, reviews of the book were decent, though I'm not sure about putting the man himself on the cover, as has happened with some versions. I mean, would that get you in the mood? 5. Behind bars and loving it. I'm being flippant, but the Halden prison in Norway is known for being more luxurious than most. The progressive and high security location has a welcoming attitude to prisoners. If you're lucky enough to be locked up there, you have your own shower and a flat screen TV in your cell. Reports also mention how fluffy the towels are. I guess that makes towel whippings more difficult. Seriously though, this is seen as an organized and effective approach toward helping people back into society. 4. Mandela effect. He was released from jail in 1990, however, South African president and icon Nelson Mandela was viewed with suspicion by the United States. Shockingly, he remained on their terror watch list years later. Because he was connected to the African National Congress, which the US regarded as terrorists, it took a while for authorities to trust Mandela despite his glowing reputation. They finally took him off the list in 2008. 3. When the Mississippi went backwards. Is it possible to make the mighty Mississippi River run backwards? Certainly, if the country is hit by an earthquake. Back in 1812, states such as Missouri and Kentucky experienced powerful seismic activity in an area called the New Madrid Fault Zone. This zone runs for 150 miles, and the quake triggered a fluvial tsunami, where the tide of the Mississippi was well and truly turned. I guess at that point in time it was called the Ippisisson River. 2. Shocking CIA hack. How embarrassing is it that the director of the CIA had his email account hacked by a group named Crackers with Attitude? Adding to the awkwardness was the fact that the culprit was a teenager. Director John Brennan's AOL address was taken over in 2015. How exactly did the rogue cracker pull it off? He reportedly pretended to be a phone technician in order to get Brennan's details before calling AOL and changing the password. 1. Unsinkable Sam. Cats famously have 9 lives, and Unsinkable Sam gave up 3 of them, surviving a trio of boating disasters. This feline hero of wartime was the ship's cat aboard the German Bismarck. After that went down, Sam switched sides to the Allies. He was then stationed aboard the HMS Cossack and finally the Ark Royal. Despite being in many hairy situations, Sam made it into old age and had a ball before passing away in 1955. Now, nothing is more shocking and unbelievable than the world of true crime, so like I said before, please check out Dark Roast Detectives, the new channel that mixes up the world's most dramatic cases in one steaming pot of hot justice. Check it out here. Told you we have a new channel. I wasn't lying.